Usually when we build a machine, like a coffee maker, we really only care about the output. You just press a button and you get coffee. We don't ask if the machine, actually enjoyed making it.
Right, yeah. I
Yeah.
just want the coffee. You aren't worrying about the internal life of the appliance. It's just purely functional.
But, well, what happens when the machine is actually designed to act exactly like you, to converse, to create art, to just seem perfectly human? So today we are doing a deep dive into some fascinating research on Integrated Information Theory 4.0, or IIT. And our mission is really to unpack this totally mind-bending idea. What if you could mathematically prove that just because an AI acts human, it doesn't actually feel anything at all?
Yeah, and to figure out the actual math of consciousness, the authors of IIT say we can't just look at brain scans. We have to start with the one thing we absolutely know exists, which is the experience itself. They call this the zeroth axiom. Basically, experience exists, and even trying to doubt it is a contradiction because, well, you're actively experiencing that doubt.
Right, exactly. And from there, IIT defines these 5 essential properties of experience, like how it's integrated or highly specific. And then it translates those into physical requirements. So in this theory, physical existence basically means having cause-effect power.
Exactly. It's a system's ability to take and make a difference to itself.
Okay, so I want to unpack this a bit. It sounds almost like reverse engineering a cake. Like instead of starting with flour and sugar, you start by tasting it, experiencing that exact flavor, and then mathematically deducing the precise molecular properties you need to create it. But wait, I'm completely lost here. Are you telling me a math equation of cause-effect power literally is my warm memory of tasting a birthday cake? That doesn't really make sense.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
That is definitely the hardest hurdle of the whole theory. They call it explanatory identity. The argument is that the feeling doesn't just, arise as a byproduct. It literally is identical to a highly integrated structure of cause and effect, which they call a fifth structure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but following this math actually leads to a really wild place. Because if consciousness is strictly tied to physical cause-effect power, IIT implies a very distinct flavor of panpsychism.
Panpsychism. Wait, meaning consciousness is everywhere? Like my chair is secretly thinking about me?
Well, not quite. It's not a chair having deep thoughts. IIT suggests that space and time are basically tiled with substrates of consciousness, with absolutely no gaps. All physical matter contributes to exactly one of these substrates at any given time.
Okay, so everything is conscious.
Kind of. But for most of the universe, matter only has microforms of this cause-effect power. The research actually calls it ontological dust.
Ontological dust. I like that.
Yeah, it's essentially minimal phenomenal content. So for people uncomfortable with the label panpsychism, the researchers suggest using the term proto-consciousness for this dust. It only becomes real consciousness when matter is arranged in a highly complex structure.
Which makes sense because otherwise you run into some weird ethical problems, right? Like if everything is fully conscious, you'd be worried about the moral rights of a toaster.
Exactly. Calling it proto-consciousness stops us from over-attributing moral patienthood and rights to just everyday objects.
Right. Okay. Which actually brings us to computers.
Huh?
Because as you interact with these massive AI systems every day, you have to ask yourself, are these systems generating that complex, integrated structure?
And the research details this fascinating experiment to answer exactly that, using functionally equivalent systems. Think of them like electronic toll booths counting coins.
Okay.
Externally, they do the exact same input-output behavior. They count a coin, they lift the gate.
But internally, they're wired entirely differently.
Right. So let's look at that internal wiring. If a system uses a purely feed-forward architecture,
Meaning information only moves in one direction. Like water rushing down a pipe, right? Never loops back.
that's a perfect way to visualize it. In a feed-forward system, it's basically a giant game of telephone. One node whispers to the next, straight down the line. It makes a difference to the next step, but never to itself as a whole,
Oh, I see.
because it doesn't interact with itself. Its cause-effect power, its phi, is exactly zero. It experiences absolutely nothing.
Wow. And what about the other system?
The other one uses a recurrent architecture. Information constantly loops back. It's less like a game of telephone and more like a loud town hall debate. Everyone is reacting to everyone else at the exact same time.
Creating a unified atmosphere.
Exactly. That internal looping generates massive cause-effect power upon itself. It creates a rich phi structure, which means high consciousness.
So wait, a digital supercomputer could be programmed with feed-forward architecture to perfectly emulate human intelligence, give you all the right answers, and completely fool you, yet be completely dark inside.
Yes. because they lack that internal recurrent integration. They are equivalent in what they do extrinsically, but totally empty in what they are intrinsically. The external behavior is just an illusion of the system's internal reality.
So consciousness is about being, not doing. That really shifts how you have to look at the AI you interact with. Just because a machine pushes out the perfect output, I mean, it doesn't mean anyone is actually home to experience it.
Yeah, and it forces us to reconsider the value of our own biological architecture, honestly.
Which leaves you with a pretty chilling final question to ponder. If consciousness is strictly tied to our brain's highly integrated, specialized biological lattice, that town hall debate of neurons, well, what happens if we eventually start replacing parts of our own brains with hyper-efficient, feed-forward silicon chips?
Right, to make ourselves smarter or faster.
Exactly. Could we accidentally upgrade our intelligence, becoming perfectly optimized machines while slowly erasing our own consciousness?
Yeah.
It's just a perfect output, completely dark inside.